Oh, are you turning
Welcome.
it over? Okay.
I'm going to, yes. So welcome everybody. Happy Friday. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Stacy.
Yay. Thank you. I am pleased to be your Toastmaster today, and I can't wait to see how it goes. So this is going to be fun because Charles came up with a theme and a word of the day, and our theme is going to be Get Outdoors. So that is reflected in the picture I have behind me, which is camping, one of my favorite outdoor things to do. And the word of the day is recreation. And I'm sure everybody here recreates, so we will have a really excellent table topics with Charles. The roles that we have today are our counter is Devin, our grammarian is Megan, our timer is Paul, and our general evaluator is Lucille. Do we have a joke? Yes, it's Anita is our joke master. Would you like to tell a joke, Anita?
Well, I am not a master of jokes. You might already know that, but I love to celebrate the humor that just kind of organically comes up every day. And the other day in our backyard, we were social distancing with a friend, and he said, I would love to find Carlsbad taverns. Let's go visit them. And we looked at each other and we said, do you mean Carlsbad Caverns? He said, oh yes, they're the caves and they're beautiful. Where are they? Let's go visit them. And we said, well, we think they're in New Mexico. They're not in Carlsbad. So he looked very surprised and he thought for a second, and then he said, well, if we can't go to Carlsbad Caverns, let's find Carlsbad Taverns. So we decided that was a great idea, but we're in Vista. And so we decided to stay local and visit a Vista Tavern. So the conversation went from Carlsbad Tavern to Carlsbad Cavern, Carlsbad Tavern, Vista Tavern. We ended up at Vista Local Microbrewery, which we felt was close enough. And that's it.
All right. Thank you. That's a great story. Thank you. It's at this point, I believe I will introduce our general evaluator, Lucille, and she will introduce Lisa. And I think maybe we should cut the time a little bit, just maybe 15 minutes instead of 20. So I would like to welcome Lucille. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Today's, our speaker today is Lisa, and she will be presenting the second portion of her speech, which we had a little bit earlier, and it is all about the leadership style. So please help me welcome Lisa.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it, Lucille. First, I want to extend my sincere thanks to all of you who showed up early today to work on the workbook portion of characteristics of effective leaders. I especially want to also thank Devin and Deanna for spending so much time with me outside of this presentation to help me coordinate it, being willing to put it together, giving time and their talent. I really do appreciate your help, Devin and Deanna, and everyone else who showed up today. So I'm going to share my screen. Toastmasters organization is wonderful because, let me see. Nope, that's not it. They gave me a beautiful slideshow. So let me see if I can get this puppy going. We're talking about the characteristics of effective leaders. This is part 1, and if any of you are interested, you can purchase part 2 and present it later on. I think Toastmasters does a really great job with everything, and I'm going to time myself because I know I'm working on more limited time, so I'll be expeditious. You've all heard about it and read about it many times in the past decade that we need leaders. We need great leaders. It's discussed in business, politics, and even religion. So in leadership, there are qualities, and it's important to know our strengths and weaknesses. Generally speaking, leadership is defined as the capacity to influence others and achieve worthwhile results. Also defined as developing people and helping them reach their full potential. Many, many years ago in the military, I heard my favorite definition of leadership, and it's the ability to tell someone to go to hell and make them feel really good about going there. That's my favorite one. So let's see. Characteristics of effective leaders. Discussed that already. Leaders have, generally speaking, 7 personality qualities. First, they're emotionally mature. Well, what does that mean? It means that they're comfortable with themselves and they accept themselves. They're predictable and they are dependable. Leaders are independent. They're free thinkers. They are not afraid to disagree with the majority, and they will question and are willing to accept change in policies and procedures. Leaders are strong-willed. What that means is they're determined. They will overcome obstacles to achieve the goal. Leaders are courageous. Leaders will take risks and they are not afraid to fail. Leaders are ambitious. They have the strong desire to achieve and they're willing to work longer and harder to do so. Leaders are resilient. So what does resiliency mean? It means that no matter what, they're going to continue to perform despite delays, disappointments, and shortcomings or distractions or failures. And finally, leaders are charismatic. Leaders capture the popular imagination. They inspire. There's 4 mental qualities I'll go through. Leaders are very quick. They think rapidly, they can analyze situations, and they can alter plans accordingly. Leaders are knowledgeable. They know their organization, its practices, and its culture. They're good judges. Leaders, they form opinions and make decisions objectively and wisely. Their opinions and decisions reflect the goals of the organization and the society in general. And finally, leaders are foreseeing. They look ahead, they predict what will happen, and they plan for it. So there's value systems in leadership. Values are the principles and the beliefs by which we live by. Values are really important no matter what organization you're in. As I discussed before the meeting when we were working in the workbook, it's how you live your life. If, let's say, you're of a certain religion, well, you're going to live your life according to the practices and beliefs of that religion. It also is determined by how you see yourself. If you see yourself as healthy, a fitness person, you're going to live your life by the values of how you eat, exercise, and conduct your personal life. Leadership style. Leadership style is consistent and distinctive pattern of behavior on the part of the person acting in a leadership role. It's how you think, it's how you influence others, it is how you guide your day-to-day actions, and it is how you employ structure, rules, and policies. In leadership, there is the strength, weakness, irony. One strength, when taken to an extreme, can become a weakness. What that means is every leader is entitled to his or her own leadership style. We all bring to the table certain strengths that we have learned to use for our own benefit and for the benefit of others. But for all of us, our strength can become a liability. It becomes a liability if we don't learn to tailor that. Psychologists refer to a principle known as the strength, weakness, irony. This means that one's strength, such as a particular attitude or skill, when taken to an extreme, can actually become a weakness. For example, a person may be very decisive with the ability to absorb information, identify what is relevant, find the core of the problem, and make a decision about how to solve it. But taken to an extreme, this orientation toward decisiveness can result in a snap judgment and inability to appreciate the complexity and subtlety of certain issues. Additionally, a leader who thinks and decides quickly may intimidate others or make them feel insecure about their own thinking abilities. Team members may automatically defer to the leader out of reluctance to share their own concerns, values, or ideas. Other examples of the strength-weakness irony include confidence, determination, democratic decision-making, which can extend to wishy-washiness and trying to please everybody. So understanding your own leadership style means understanding your strengths, knowing how they can sometimes become a weakness, knowing how your style influences the attitudes, feelings, and actions of others, and knowing how to alter your behavior patterns to meet situational challenges and team needs. So can leadership be changed? Well, it can. As I said earlier before the meeting, I strongly believe that leaders are made and not born. You've often heard that saying where leaders are born, not made. I totally disagree with that. Leadership can be taught and learned. So there's two examples given, and one of them is Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, who took over the leadership of the historic Manhattan Project during World War II, created a thermonuclear device, which was a new, unprecedented undertaking. Oppenheimer had to provide intellectual leadership and technical knowledge while employing practical skills, social skills, and even political skills. This was an enormous stretch even for someone of his considerable talent. He had to learn and grow in order to fulfill his leadership role. A second example is with the astronaut James Lovell, who was a former Toastmaster. He commanded the ill-fated Apollo 13 mission, and in its return from its aborted attempt at a moon landing, the ship was badly damaged and its onboard equipment severely compromised. No one had ever done what he had to do either. With the lives of his crew and himself in jeopardy, Lovell had to rise to a new level of courage, self-discipline, and decisive action. So today you'll learn about the concept of leader match, which is the coming together of knowledge and skills to match the situation or team needs. A leader gap occurs when leader skills do not match the need of the situation or the team. In these cases, the leader will need to grow into the role or else risk falling short of the challenge. So to understand the leader match and the leader gap, there's three areas. And those areas are the need of the enterprise, corporation, or the club you belong to, the needs of the team or organization, and the style and skills of the leader. Let me check my time. Okay. So there's a four-dimensional model of leadership, and that four-dimensional style incorporates reflection, influence, action, and structure. Reflection is the ability to evaluate the situation and the challenges facing the organization, clarify the vision and the mission, set the direction, establish priorities, and make plans. Influence is how leaders vary in how much they work with and through the talents of the team members. Leaders don't simply issue orders, they must mobilize the skills, experience, viewpoints, and energies of the team members using personal persuasion, role modeling, idea selling, and hands-on interaction rather than simply using formal authority. The third one is action. Leaders vary in how they tell people what to do. They can be highly directive or highly permissive. They can directly channel the team's activities or allow the team to act intelligently on its own. And finally, the fourth one is structure. Depending on the size and complexity of the enterprise involved, leaders vary in how they create structures for assigning responsibilities, communicating, sharing information, planning, managing resources, and resolving disagreements. So the intellectual leader. These leaders exhibit an unbalanced leadership, it can exhibit an unbalanced leadership style with heavy emphasis on a little use of influence, action, structure. So that means they might be a technical expert and know the team's mission and view his or her role as providing technical expertise. They oftentimes keep the team guessing about the direction and purpose of the organization and its priorities. They issue instructions for action and isolated matters, leaving the rest of the team to figure out what's really needed. The fix-it leader is the next leader. The fix-it leader is totally lopsided on the other side of the stratum. Heavy on action component with little reflection, influence, or structure. Leaders with this style have no theory for the enterprise, if there is one. They see little need to share the theory with others. They decide what needs to be done. They issue the orders for doing it. They believe that they know what's best and that they don't allow their people to grow. They like to just fix what's wrong. This style will stifle individual initiatives. The third one is the bulldozer leader. This style is very strong on influence with little support from reflection or action or structure. Bulldozer leaders are preoccupied with personal influence to the detriment of the mission and the welfare of the team. These people see themselves as hero figures who set the agenda and demand unfailing personal loyalty. That's a great thing to be in the military sometimes. Or in politics, think about politicians. They love power and enjoy showing off their authority. Wow, specific person in mind right now. At the extreme, they can be self-absorbed, operating more from a state of personal need than from concern about effectiveness. That's the bulldozer style. And I know my time is short. Finally, the bureaucrat leader. This leadership pattern is overbalanced on the structure component with little reflection, influence, or action. This person who is a bureaucrat is preoccupied with rules, regulations, procedures, and policies. Sorry, the bureaucrat leader. As you can see, too far on the side. So other leadership patterns, there's the reflection, influence. So suppose these leaders have a very high score on reflection scale, a high score on influence scale, but relatively low on action and structure. How are they likely to behave? Well, they're going to have a strong desire to validate their ideas with others. They might interact with team members primarily around ideas, invite them to share their views, strongly express their own views, and actively sell ideas. But there's limitations, which I would discuss more of if I had more time. The second pattern is the influence action pattern. Leaders who have a high score on influence and a high score on action might fall short on the reflection and structure portion. And finally, a pattern will be reflection and action. Leaders who score high on reflection and high on action probably or might score lower on influence and structure. So how would they act? These people create the dream and then put people to work to achieve it. People like Thomas Edison and Howard Hughes showed this pattern. They were both highly talented, goal-focused, and articulate. They knew what they wanted to accomplish and what had to be done. So the leader match principle. All of the examples so far have one thing in common. They do not account for differences in the situations the leaders must face. Clearly, a person with a distinctive leadership style might be very effective in one situation and completely ineffective in a different situation. We need to find the kind of leadership needed by our organization or club and compare that to the kind of leadership and individual leader that we are providing. Today, some of us who showed up early learned how to make assessments. One of the assessments was the leadership style that we have based on our experiences up to this time. If we have time after the meeting today, we will go on to discuss the needs of the organization and the determination of what our assessment shows. For now, though, I'm going to end my presentation and I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmasters so we can have some fun table topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was very well done. I really appreciate what you've taught us today. And since I think I already introduced Lucille at the wrong time, probably as general evaluator. And since we don't have any evaluators today, would everyone like to have a minute to do an evaluation that you could email Lucille, or do you want to just do it on your own? What do you guys? Give me a little feedback, do you think? Or do you just want to skip that today and we'll just move on to table topics?
Did you mean email Lucille? Or
Email
Lisa?
Email Lisa. Did I say Lucille? Sorry. Email Lisa. And Lisa, if you could put your email address in just in case somebody doesn't have it, put it in the chat. So we'll just skip the evaluation part. Just make sure after, before too much time goes by, while it's still fresh in your mind, that you fill out a little bit of an evaluation and email it to Lisa. So how about a timer's report from Paul? I believe she ran over, but.
Yeah, she's at 18 minutes.
18 minutes. I don't mind that. I think because it was a long slideshow, so let's not worry about the time. And I will go ahead and introduce Charles as our table topics master today. Let's give a warm wave, hand wave for Charles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, today's topic is get outdoors. As we talked about earlier in the meeting, now is the time of year to get outdoors. We can be safer. We can experience nature. This season is really why we do live in San Diego. The word of the day is recreation. Everyone will say it in their little section. And we can go ahead and get started. Just to actually, before we do get started, a quick recap of the timing. It is 45 seconds to qualify. A minute and 15 seconds, you will get the yellow, and red at 1:30, and that means to wrap it up because you have about 15 more seconds before you are out of the qualification range. And I think that's the right time. All right, let's get started. My family has been able to get a lot done partially because of the coronavirus, and we've had to cancel the things that we're supposed to do, and we're able to do a lot of great projects outside. One of them is we have taken up gardening. And what I would like to know is, Angel, what is your favorite thing to grow in the garden, and how do you prepare it?
Thank you very much, Charles, for that question. Funny you should ask. I've been desperate to get my hands on some new soil because I need to separate out some of my plants and give them more space. And I prepare really by looking at where I want things and try to look forward as to how far they'll grow, how much space I need, and what flowers, what colors, that kind of thing. And then often I'm wrong because they die or they grow twice as big as I expected them to. In England, I had to pay a fortune recently to remove a massive eucalyptus tree from my London back garden. I had deliberately asked them for something small, something that wouldn't grow too big, and they sold me eucalyptus. So that was a huge mistake. But currently, I'm just trying to grow a little bit more color. I've put out a few more things. I'm trimming. I need to prepare more with pesticide. I use neem oil, and if you don't spray, you suffer. My plumeria was eaten away last year, but this year it's looking really good. And when I'm allowed to, or if I ever go shopping ever again, or if someone gets me neem oil and potting soil, I'm going to be doing a little bit extra. And I also want to buy on Tuesday a few more little colorful flowers. I do love to see things grow, and I hope I'll get you all around if I have success. I put lots of colorful fairy lights. It looks really pretty out there, and so you'll all be welcome to come and check it out. It's for recreation.
Thank you, Angela. I got the word of the day in. Awesome. Deanna, I know that you are from the Hawaiian Islands, and I think you are a very well-experienced person at getting down to the beach. So if you could tell us, when you have a beach day, what do you pack?
That's funny that you asked that. I have mixed feelings about the beach, actually. I love to look at the beach. I love to see the waves. I love to hear the waves, but I don't like to get all sandy. That portion of the beach, I don't care for. And I'm not one to lay on the beach, sunbathe, and just hang out. I like to be active. So if I am going to the beach, it's usually just either going out there to go paddle and do my outrigger canoeing, or it'd be walking. So it'd be so I would bring whatever I need to do that specific activity, but it wouldn't be to bring things to lay down and relax and get hot and red. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Deanna. That's great. You learn something new all the time. Well, related to the beach and getting outdoors, I know that Jessie is relatively new to the area. And would you mind telling us, what is your favorite local beach?
I need to unmute. Thank you for that question. I have to say, my best local beach for recreation is still Tamarack Beach, because it's the one that I spent the most time on. It was closest to my house. I lived there for 4 years, a block away. So I walked down by that beach constantly and took the boardwalk on the sidewalk to Carlsbad Village. And very often I would pack a little lunch or something and go actually sit on the sand, usually with a chair, and enjoy the negative ions, as they say. And now, yes, I am new to this area, Corona del Mar, and I'm only 12 blocks away from the beach. And I want to get to the beach and spend more time here, although I did spend Mother's Day there with my daughter and her fiance and their 2 dogs. We were in the grassy section. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessie. Well, summer is one of the best holidays with regard, or best times of year with regard to holidays, because there's lots of things to do outside. Today is Juneteenth, which is the commemoration of the liberation of all the slaves in the United States. It's an untraditional holiday, but it is a holiday that is being recognized. Of the more traditional holidays, Jerry, can you tell us what you like to do? What's your favorite, and what do you like to do on that day?
Thank you, Charles, for that question. One of my favorite holidays is the 4th of July, and it's usually right in the middle of summer. The weather is always great, and of course, people like to barbecue or get out, have a picnic. But the other thing is the fireworks. I always like to actually go to the fireworks show as a favorite form of recreation. And I've seen fireworks that vary all the way from, just a couple of Roman candles and a sparkler to the extravagant show. And it really is impressive. If you ever lay back and you're up there and it's like overwhelming. I've seen some where the finale just like blows you away with the amount of fireworks. And then some that are, just music, entertainment. And it's usually a lot of people get together at that time. I think this year is going to be a little different. I hate to say it, I'll probably watch it on TV. That's just a real disappointment. But, I don't know about getting together in large crowds like that. But it's a great form of recreation. And I would say the 4th of July, it's just a great time to get together with family, friends, and enjoy the summer and have a great time. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Jerry. That was great. One of my favorite holidays as well. Also, living here in Southern California, we have a lot of great amusement parks and places to go. Anita, one of the best amusement parks here in San Diego is the zoo. What is an exhibit that you must see whenever you go?
Well, I don't get a chance. Thank you, Charles. I don't get a chance to go to the zoo very often, but I believe in it enough and the Wild Animal Park that I have a annual pass anyway, and I share it with my kids who live down in San Diego. And whenever we go, I love to go watch the hippopotamus or hippopotami. It's like they're recreating. They're swimming along, and when they first put that exhibit in, I had no idea how much they would swim, but they love the water and they love swimming and they love coming up to the glass or plastic clear area where you can see it and watch them swim and actually interact with them sometimes. So that's my favorite exhibit at the zoo. And it's also fairly close to the carousel. I like the carousel. Thank you.
Thank you, Nita. That's great. Well, getting outdoors in summer also means physical activity and participating in sports. Paul, can you tell us what are some of your favorite summer sports?
Thank you, Charles. In terms of recreation, I like to be outside with my kids. One of my favorite things to do is just chase them around, tackle them, tickle them. Now, one of them is 19, so she doesn't enjoy the tickling so much, and that's all good. The 14-year-old, it's all good. She still likes it. But the problem with these kids is when they're 19 and 14 is they can run faster than the old man here. So trying to chase them down, track them down, especially with the asthma, I get out of breath, and it just all goes south from there. So I do enjoy the aspect of with the kids. My youngest is in field hockey now, hoping they're going to have a high school season this year. But it's a lot of fun, and that it will be a summer/fall sport when it takes off. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks, Paul. All right. Well, now that we are in summer and it's so nice to be outside, it's kind of weird because we don't get to go out and watch sports and watch some of our favorite pro athletes. Devin, can you tell me about the sport that you're missing most, being able to go outside and watch being played live?
That would be baseball. Baseball is huge recreation for our family. My father especially is just nuts about it. And so it's become kind of a family tradition of ours. We're season ticket holders for the Angels. We've also been Padres season ticket holders. We kind of switch off based on who we think will be more interesting to watch that season. And recently it's been the Angels. So I think we're missing that a lot. For me, it's the experience of going, to the parks and the fun food and sitting with my dad and catching up on things. And I love when they do theme nights, Star Wars night especially. It's just like the most fun you'll ever have at a baseball park. But sadly, we have been missing that. And we're still hoping they might pull it off and have a very short season this year. So here's hoping for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. I totally understand what you're missing too. I do miss baseball in the summer. While we're outside, it's nice to sit down and go out for a great meal. Megan, can you tell me any recommendations you have for great locations for outdoor dining?
Oh, I think I'm unmuted, right?
We can hear.
Okay. I think that we just yesterday, we got on the phone and just to find a restaurant that had dine-in, because they have dine-in if you're 6 feet away, just because we don't cook as well as the restaurants do, and it's better for us to go out. I mean, we just had so much fun yesterday when we had to go somewhere, and the nearest restaurant was Broken Yoke, and we went there for breakfast. It was fabulous. So that going out to eat is definitely a great recreation for us to do. I thank you.
Thank you. Toastmaster, do we have time for one more?
I think we're really getting close to the hour, so maybe we're pretty much done, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. A wonderful topic. I really loved it. I loved what everybody had to say. So let's get a timer's report on how everybody did with their time.
We had 8 speakers and each one of them qualified.
Oh, very good. And the grammarian, I don't know if Megan was able to keep track, but how did everybody do with the word of the day?
Again, I'm not sure if Devin said it.
She
the word
did.
of the day, and she did. And
She did.
Stacy, did you say it?
I didn't speak.
Oh, all right. Well, then good. You didn't say it. Okay, I was like, I don't have you checked off. And do you want me to name them? The people?
Yeah, name who's qualified to vote, to be voted for.
All right. Angel, Jerry, Anita, Paul, and Megan. Did Devin say it? I forgot.
Devin did, I think.
All right. Then Devin. Devin and then Megan. All right.
Good.
Angel, Jerry, Anita, Paul, Devin, Megan.
And Deanna too, right?
Deanna.
I didn't say it.
Oh, got it.
Thanks, though.
I thought Jesse said it too.
Yeah,
Jesse said.
I said.
Okay, so that
I
means we have.
I'm
So,
sorry. I thought I was so proud of myself. I wrote everyone down.
Thank you, Megan. You're doing a good job. So everybody take a moment to vote. And do we have a ballot counter? I don't think we have a ballot counter. Somebody
I'll do it. I'm doing it, Stacey.
Deanna will be the ballot counter. So send your vote for your best table topics to Deanna. in the chat box privately. Use the private function. And at that point, I will move on to the reports. How about the counter? Would you like to have a report?
Great job, everyone. I didn't catch a ton of stuff today. Lisa, you had one sew, one Xerox, and one false start. Jerry, you had 2 you-knows. Charles, you had 1 and one tongue click. Everybody else was pretty clean.
Thank you, Devin. How about our grammarian? Make it kind of short, Megan, if you can just let us know of anything you might have heard that was creative use or phrases you might have liked. Doesn't have to be too detailed.
Lisa said expeditious. I thought that was a good word on how she, I don't know how much time. And it was good to see the shape of the squares on the in your speech or whatever, the presentation. Instead of knowing, well, I'm high in this and I'm high in that, and it was good to see the shape of the squares. That would, I don't know, maybe I'm just slow at figuring it out, but that was helpful for me.
Okay. Is that it?
No, but I was trying to be quick.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
We're moving right along. Let's give her a hand. I forgot to give a hand for the counter, but now I would like to ask Lucille to do her general evaluation. Let's welcome Lucille.
Thank you, Stacy. Stacy, as always, great job being a Toastmaster for today. And also table topics. Charles, I love that topic. I love the theme. It's very appropriate for the time of the year right now. I wanted to go back to Lisa because she wanted to ask me to give her a little bit of a comment. It is a very intense topic. It's long, but you did a great job. And just one point that I want you to consider, especially during the monitor, put a little sticky around your monitor screen so you'll be looking at it more. I know you're reading, but put it out on a sticky around it so that you can at least be visual, because once you connect with us, it's great, but we know that you're reading something. So just some tips that would help you continue your connection with the audience. Other than that, the meeting went really well. As I said, thank you for being, there's 11 of us and continuing to be here during this pandemic time. And hopefully we'll see each other in person soon. And I'm really looking forward to that time. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to, let's see, do we have the ballot count yet from Deanna? Do you want to announce who the winner is of the table topics?
Sure. We have a tie. The tie is, yes, so the 2 winners that we have is Jerry and Anita.
Woohoo! All right. Yay, very good, very good.
Woohoo!
Okay, I guess I've done my part and I'll turn the meeting back to our Presidente, Devin.
Thank you, Stacy. Great job. All right, wonderful meeting, everybody. Great turnout. Does anybody have any announcements while I pull up the schedule?
I do. Just keep your eyes open this week for an email from me. I'll be a little more detailed about next Friday, and hopefully I can get some participation before the meeting, because it's required. The requirement is an hour, and so I can split it, a little before and a little after, just like Lisa did. I think that'll work.
Okay. Great. Yeah, so send us our homework. We'll get on that.
Okay.
All right, so did we decide that, so Lisa was gonna do something next week. Was that Toastmaster for the introductions, or was that something else?
Yes, she's gonna do the Toastmaster and introduce.
All right, so we need a table topics master. We're gonna need.
Hey, Devin, can you take me off as speaker too? I don't know if that was a mistake. I didn't mean that, but I'm happy to do another role.
Okay.
So.
But I thought Stacy's presentation is long. Am I mistaken?
Well, I think because we had speakers, we weren't gonna have her take over the whole meeting. We were gonna just have her do her session following the meeting.
Okay. But
That's okay.
I'm the one that's
unless you want to split it up.
Speech next week. That will be my 10 to 15 minute one.
It's 10 to 15. Okay. So yeah, we probably should only have one speaker then.
Right.
And when I've done it, you'll have me as a silver, what's it called? And you can put me on your sheet.
Oh, yay.
For
Excellent.
my silver.
actually, Stacy and Lisa, you're doing there for your gold, yes?
Yes, I have.
That's why we're pushing to get them in by the end of the month.
Get into the skin of my teeth.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else can take on a role?
I can do
be
on
off. Oh.
Or if somebody else wants it, that's fine. Anita?
I was just going to say I could be off counter too.
Okay, Anita's all counter.
Okay.
I'll do general.
Okay.
I'll do the table topics master, Jerry.
Thank you.
May I ask a question about the following week, please, Devon? Because I know normally we cancel for 4th of July, but since we can't go anywhere and we can't have anybody round, might there be enough of us to still do a meeting on that weekend instead of canceling the meeting?
There might. I think we just wanted to give people a break.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to come if they don't want to.
I don't know about other people, but I'm starting to get a little Zoom fatigue from.
Do you want to open it up and just see who comes in? Just open up the meeting and not necessarily stay if you want.
Yeah, well, technically the room opens at this time, regardless of if I'm there or not. So,
fair enough.
So I guess if you wanted to pop on.
If anybody wants to come in and have a beer, we'll be here.
Well, Angel, why don't you?
It's officially Diana's term. July 1st starts.
Woohoo!
So,
Yay.
Yeah, so.
Well, she definitely should have a beer then.
Deanna, did I sign up for the secretary?
Yes, you did. I'm going to be helping you with it. We're both doing it, and your name's going down.
Oh, so
congratulations.
that's next Friday?
It begins July 1st.
Going to the training thing?
With the trainings, I don't have
There's
those.
an officer training.
so Megan, the online training, I can answer that. The online training is this Saturday, and then there's one next Saturday as well.
All right.
For the officers.
All right. Yeah.
So you can just go to the D5 calendar, and if you click on the club officer training, then there is a link there to register.
Okay. I thought I did, but.
If you did, you'll get a confirmation.
Okay.
So we do need the officers to go to training. If you can make either of those dates, that would be great. Especially if you're new in your role, it would be very helpful to get the training.
Yeah. How do you go to the what calendar to register?
So it's the District 5.
D5TM.org.
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 And just go to event calendar and find a date.
Thank you.
All right. Any other announcements? Everybody's good? All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.